You know what's going to happen. They're going to have subpoena authority and they're going to target anyone who promoted election integrity or opposes the Biden administration. Along those lines, Judicial Watch has filed a lawsuit for more accountability, not the accountability the left wants, on January 6th. Now, before I get to that, I'm going to talk about this commission sham that's being promoted by the media and its allies in Congress, basically the organized left in this country. And this sham commission, which frankly too many Republicans has his usual support, will obviously be used to target opponents of the current regime. The left that is running this city, Washington, D.C. They want to target those who oppose their narrative on the elections and want stronger and more effective laws to protect election integrity. And they want to essentially target anyone who supports Trump. That's what, I mean, you understand that by now, don't you? That discussions of January 6th are about discussions about targeting your free speech rights, and that you should be subject to government monitoring and or jailing if you suggest the November election was not run appropriately. And so do you think any commission to look at what happened on January 6th is going to be something that you can have confidence in, that's set up by Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer? Of course not. You know what that's about. Now, several Republicans have supported this idea, which is just ridiculous. So the commission, the way it would work, would be, quote, like the 9/11 commission, which really wasn't that much of a, which wasn't as good as it should have been. But the January 6th commission obviously is going to be narrowly focused on going after pretty much anyone who supported Trump or is perceived to have been supporting of Trump. So you can bet Judicial Watch will be in their sights. Because we defended the rule of law, we were seen as, quote, Trump supporters. That's the way the left operates. And so the commission head would have been appointed, assuming it passes. It passed the House. I don't know if it's going to pass the Senate. The commission head will be appointed by Schumer and Pelosi. And the staff will be hired by that chairman. There'll be a vice chairman appointed by the Republicans, but the power is with the chairmanship. So ultimately, the chairman, after consulting with the vice chairman, gets to appoint all the staff. And of course, the staff does all the work. So you know what's going to happen. They're going to have subpoena authority and they're going to target anyone who promoted election integrity or opposes the Biden administration. And it was set to go through Congress until, again, the grassroots erupted. McConnell was willing to buy into it until, again, the grassroots erupted and he backed away from it. The House leadership set this in motion until, again, the grassroots erupted and they backed off from it. But still, I think 35 Republicans voted to place your First Amendment rights on the line. I think this commission, if it's passed, will be a clear and present danger to your First Amendment and other constitutional liberties. Why do I think that? Because I know that the same group, the Pelosi House, Adam Schiff, and during the impeachment inquiry, used congressional subpoenas, for instance, to secretly obtain the phone records. And then they published these phone records of the president's lawyers and others. And they think they could do that without court supervision. Do you think this commission is going to be any better or any more reliable or any more protective of your rights as citizens? Of course not. So it's no surprise to me that Republicans who often hate conservatives, too many of them, would endorse a commission that would target conservatives or those who oppose the far left agenda. So who needs a commission, though, when you have Judicial Watch? Because Judicial Watch has already been doing the work of a commission. We've been doing an independent investigation. We have several lawsuits, including a new one about records of the security related to the security of the Capitol on January 6th. Because as you know, It was Nancy Pelosi who was ultimately responsible because she essentially runs the Capitol complex for ensuring that it's secure. And reportedly, the Capitol officials at the direction of Nancy Pelosi weren't terribly interested in having enough troops in place, given the crowd size, to ensure safety and security. In my experience, and I think it's fair to say any law enforcement official will tell you this if they're being honest or not being political, is that civil unrest or riots, all of that, it usually occurs only because of decision making by the political officials that run the police department. So no riots occur because of police inaction and specific political decisions not to enforce the rule of law. I mean, policing is much more sophisticated nowadays. They know how to stop a riot or even prevent it from occurring to begin with, all within the law. We're not talking about suppressing civil liberties, but these are usually failures of government action when rioting occurs. And Judicial Watch wants the truth about there was a riot that took place at the Capitol in part. There was violence. So if they want to know how that happened, follow Judicial Watch's lead. We're asking for the documents let me get the release here. Oh. The U.S., we sued the Pentagon, obviously, and the U.S. Park Police, which provides a lot of security for the Capitol because it's under the jurisdiction and part of the U.S. Park Police. We asked for documents about all emails regarding the deployment of U.S. troops around the Capitol complex in Washington, D.C., essentially sent to and from the top leadership of the Biden Pentagon. So we already have, I think, requests for the Trump Pentagon. We want to know what was going on after the fact. Was there a cover-up about who asked for what and how? And because remember, in addition to the failures on January 6th, you had this extreme reaction for political purposes where you had thousands and thousands of troops deployed around the U.S. Capitol in a way that shut the Capitol down and impeded, in my view, the First Amendment rights of American citizens. We asked for similar documents from the Park Police related to the January 6th riots and any warnings they had and such. So these are one of many lawsuits that we have. We had a lawsuit for records, for instance, about the death of the police officer that they were lying to us about. He died of natural causes. And frankly, I think it was the pressure from our lawsuit that forced the hand of the DC medical examiner to finally tell the truth or stop withholding the information they probably had for months that he died of natural causes. We also have a lawsuit against the Capitol riots, the Capitol Police for emails and videos about the riot. Why can't we get the videos? So you have this commission sham while the Capitol Police is hiding information. And yes, we are investigating the death of Miss Babbitt, the lone person who was killed by a police officer, even though she was unarmed. So you have Pelosi's Congress covering up the circumstances of the death of a U.S. citizen. She did not face, she was not, everyone watched the video. There was no reason to shoot her, as best I could tell. But we don't know the name of the shooter we don't even have a report on the shooting. So this tells you what the commission's about, doesn't it? It's designed to distract from the failures of Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi ought to be in the dock on this. But it also shows you've got to watch what's happening in Washington, D.C. and communicate with your members of Congress. Because as I said earlier, if it wasn't for the blowback from the grassroots, we'd have this commission already in place. or would have the endorsement of the both party leadership, and those of us who opposed it would be behind the eight ball. Now it's been exposed as a partisan sham designed to, as I said, suppress the political opposition of the Biden administration. And of course, there's always a lot to distract from. And so we've got this lawsuit. Just before I move on to the next topic, we have this lawsuit. Judicial Watch has several lawsuits regarding January 6th. We have dozens of FOIAs related to it. We want to know what Pelosi told the Pentagon. We've got that lawsuit already. And more are coming. So you don't need a commission because you have Judicial Watch. And maybe if the commission passes, maybe they'll put me on the commission. Imagine that. I'm happy to do it. Judicial Watch is deeply troubled, and this is something that I want you to highlight, focus on. We're asking for documents under the law. They are not following the law and not giving us the documents. So there's lawlessness behind this cover-up. They're suppressing unknown facts about January 6th. And with these events, remember, they used January 6th as an excuse to target and tarnish President Trump with that fake impeachment. I mean, they see it as a vehicle, January 6th, for political purposes. I mean, that's what they're doing. So we need the full truth about what went on. Because they're spying on us, they're targeting you, likely you. Yeah, you. I mean that generally and specifically. Monitoring social media posts, you say anything. The post office is monitoring social media posts now. Now they even got the Postal Service involved. First, the targeting was Trump. Now the targeting is everyone. Dangerous times, dangerous times.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.